Hey guys, and welcome to my Sindragosa guide. My video guides are not going to be super long videos, as I'm making these videos the way I would like to watch a guide video, which is a 3 to 5 minute video depending on the boss of course, explaining the mechanics and giving me a good strategy to use for the boss. So, if that's what you're looking for, you'll come to the right place. All strategies in my video guides will be the strategies my guild and I use during the world first progression in Classic. Sindragosa, however, is going to be a bit of a longer talk, but I'll keep it as short and precise as possible while still covering everything that is important to know. Sindragosa is a two-phase fight. First phase is 100 to 35%, and phase 2 is 35 till dead. Sindragosa has a ticking frost damage aura similar to the frost damage aura on Saffron in Naxxramas. In our raid, we use frost resistance enchants and items on our tanks, though, not the raid itself. Our tanks are leather workers for the Bracer frost enchant. They use cloak frost enchant and the tanking ring from Onyxia together with a frost resistance flask. Sindragosa also does a cleave, a tail swipe and a frost breath approximately every 20 seconds. Frost breath will add a stacking attack speed and movement speed slow. It cannot be dispelled, but abilities like Hand of Freedom will remove the entire debuff, making you not need to tank swap on this. Sindragosa has an armor buff called Permitting Chill, don't butcher me for how I pronounce that, which gives a chance for all physical attacks to stack a debuff called Chill to the Bone, stacking up frost damage taken on a 2-second ICD. To drop this debuff, you need to not attack for 8 seconds. Depending on the class or spec you play, you need to stop at either 5, 6, 7 stacks or never stop at all. Cloak of Shadows from rogues will clear this debuff, and abilities like Anti-Magic Shell will remove the ability of gaining new stacks while it's active as well. With Anti-Magic Shell and IBF, you can also soak a cast of Blistering Cold. Blistering Cold will happen about every 30 seconds into the fight, and every 30 seconds after landing from each air phase. It will pull all players into melee and start casting Blistering Cold upon completion of the cast. It will deal about 60,000 damage on heroic to anyone close to it. Hiding behind ice blocks does not save you from this ability in phase 3. For all casters in the raid, you have Sindragosa's ability called Unchained Magic. The first cast happens about 10 seconds into combat and then every 30 seconds after that. The debuff will be put on 6 random caster DPS players and healers. If you cast with this stack, you gain a stacking debuff, creating a massive explosion of damage to enemies 20 yards in range of you. To combat this ability, we have pre-designated spread positions for this ability, so you can stand in a spot and cast a spell every now and then without hitting other people. In the last phase of Sindragosa, we have players with debuff never cast at all, with no exceptions. Since the healers can get targeted by this ability, we once again make use of our hybrid classes and have our Shadow Priest go Holy, so we play 3 Holy Paladins, 1 Disc Priest, 1 Holy Priest, 1 Resto Druid, and 1 Resto Shaman. I have never seen Unchained Magic on more than 3 healers at a time, so this will always leave 4 healers still able to spam heal. Now, for the part that will probably wipe a lot of guilds on progression, the air phase. First air phase happens about 50 seconds into the pull, and then 60 seconds after every time she has landed until phase 2 starts. No air phases during phase 2, and all caster DPS can keep damaging Sindragosa in the spot we're standing until the frost beacons go out. When the air phase starts, Sindragosa will choose 6 players to be frost beacons, and 7 seconds later, those targets will become frost tombs. We position our frost tombs as shown in this picture, with 2 beacons in each camp. There must be at least 10 yards between the tombs to not splash other ice tomb camps. The people targeted by frost beacons should be healed to full, have a power shield from the Disc Priest, and HOTS from any healer, as they will take passive damage inside the tombs other than the big explosion on application. A D-stack from the Paladin also helps a lot for this. Sindragosa will throw a total of 4 frost bombs during this phase, and the way to avoid them is to stand directly behind the frost tombs and the explosion. Standing a little to the side on a frost tomb etc. will not help you and you will die. Think of only the tall point on the frost tomb as like a wall of safety. Each ice tomb has 450,000 HP and should be killed right after the last explosion have happened. To ensure clean killing on the tombs, dot classes should refrain from using dots and only use non-dot abilities so you don't overkill the tombs too early. That is pretty much all you need to know for phase 1, just to rinse repeat air phases and the debuffs until 35%. In our raids, we bloodlust on pull, as Sindragosa is not a DPS race and phase 2 is fairly simple as long as you play it right. In the last phase, we have all our DPS players except for the Unholy DKs and Devil Warlocks use Resistance Flask, just like we did for Algalon in Uldur. You might not need to do this, but it's just extra safety, and like I said, it's not a DPS race in phase 2, just play to survive and you will kill the boss. All the same debuffs from phase 1 still appears in phase 2, but now you will get a new stacking ability called Mystic Buffet every 6 seconds. This debuff increases all magic damage taken by 20% per stack for the next 8 seconds, and it stacks infinitely. This is the reason people with instability no longer cast at all in this phase in our guild. The way to clear this stack is that every 15 seconds, one player will be targeted by a frost beacon. If you stand behind these frost tombs, you can clear your Mystic Buffet stacks. In our guild, we place our first tomb on the right side, second tomb left side, and as soon as the second tomb has spawned, we kill off the previously spawned one so we never have more than one up at a time. This way we just cycle between left and right, left and right, left and right. The stacking debuff does require you to do some tank swapping now. You can survive Frost Breath with heavy tank cooldowns up until 10 stacks, but after that you should have your off tank take over while you reset your stacks. Solo tanking can work with stacking a lot of frost resistance gear, but 2 tanking is safer. That is basically the entire boss fight. The enrage timer is a non-factor on this boss, so as long as you play to survive, you will be more than fine. I hope you enjoyed the video, and best of luck in Icecrown Citadel.